And just going back to the beginning, you mentioned kind of wanting to be a good or more, a different realist, changing the what is it?
We wanted to change the face of real estate.
Real estate, yes, exactly. Just going back to that, what sort of hope or aim do you have moving forward with the brand, and what kind of impact do you want to have on this island specifically, or Indonesia, or what's the broader goal?
That's a good question, and that might take a long time to answer.
We have 2 hours.
With Bali specifically, we see the sort of enormous potential that Bali has as a tourist destination here. It regularly wins awards as for having the best resorts and the best hotels and all that sort of stuff. It's on a lot of people's bucket list to come and see and visit and things. It's a very popular place. But we also see that there are problems with it. There's a lot of greed involved with the way that particularly land prices have rocketed over recent years. But there's also this lack of understanding of the idea of balance, which is kind of ironic because Bali is a place of balance. But we see that there are areas and aspects to business here where the environment has been ignored, education has been largely ignored, so is sort of health services for local communities, and it's not so much about the local communities as such, but it's much more about business and big business and just making a hell of a lot of money as quickly as possible and then kind of leaving it and going away, and then you guys sort it out on your own kind of thing. So I think it's kind of a sort of a utopian, idealistic sort of back thought that we've got too, that we could actually make a difference here. We could actually change how business is done and make more people more aware of the impact that they have on their environments. And the environment doesn't mean the beautiful trees and the flowers and the butterflies and all that sort of stuff. It actually means your working environment, it means your people environment, it means your community environment, all of those different things.
I think the challenge and the pros and cons and the benefits and the doubts, I guess, from tourism is it's not really a new thing for Bali or anywhere. It's always challenges when an old culture get exposed to something new and an exposure almost overnight. I think the first time that mass tourism was seen as a problem and exposed in press in Europe was 1934. So it's been around for a while. So I do think we can make an impact, and I think we can make an impact more than anything on having those communications with people, talking to the communities, talking to the expats, bridging that again into the government and the Balinese people, so that there is a dialogue, and where it goes from there is not for us to decide or others to decide, but it's a healthy process, I guess, where everyone gets their say and state what they think is good and where do we want to go with this.
That's important too, I think, Terry, because one of the things that definitely came out when we were doing this rebranding thing with Affinity was the experience that we've got. I'm not kind of trying to blow trumpets here or whatever, but I've been here for 33 years and Terry's been here for 133 years or something like that, 25, 30 years. We've got a lot of experience here. And that means that it's not saying that we know better than anybody else, but we are sensitive to and aware of a lot of things that can easily be addressed and easily be solved with a particular kind of mindset. And often we've seen people without that accepting of the culture here go in and just be a bull in a china shop and just cause more trouble than was necessary.
I think you see that on both sides of this, that a lot of foreigners comes in here and it's like, oh, why aren't they doing it the way they should, and why don't they do it like us, and why do they have to be so difficult? And the Indonesian government or Indonesians and Balinese will say the same towards the expat. Why don't you behave and live and do like we do? So there's really no right or wrong. It's again about the different perception and the different values and the different settings. And we just need to communicate a lot, and then we'll find out that we're probably not that different, and we do have the same values. It's just a matter of how we put them out to into reality, and priorities. Sometimes expats might expect rules, laws, regulation to change overnight, while the Indonesian government has a long-term strategy and thought behind that, because there's so much that they need to take into consideration than just economical growth or foreign direct investment. They have to think of their people, education, health, all kinds of aspects that needs to come along with it too.
I think that's something that is also really interesting that you guys do, which is that there's obviously a lot of knowledge and experience between the two of you in this market, but you're also very open to change and constant improvements, and all that is.
Yeah, I think we're good at that. we're good at being open to change. We do a lot of reading too. We read relevant stuff and we watch relevant stuff. We have conversations like this, for example, on a regular basis in the office, and we encourage everyone that works around us to participate in that too. To share what we know with each other so that we can grow together.
Well, I think we're both. I don't like the word open-minded. Everyone is open-minded, but open to changes and open to the fact that we might be wrong sometimes. Not very often, but every now and then we might be. And like Andy says, we can discuss this in the office, and we can discuss this in not so formal environment. Sometimes we even take the conversations to the pub, and they can get a bit heated. But that's a different. You lower your guard a bit, and you get different thoughts into it too. So I think we constantly. Maybe not deliberately, but we challenge each other a little bit too in mindsets and engagements, kind of like a game of ping pong, and the ball goes back and forth, and that's how you do it, and then we sort of get into a better clarity on what we're doing. And it's been in some way a long process, but again, not so long process when you look at how other brands and how other businesses have evolved to it. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to have clarity in what you're doing and what you're putting together and what you want to achieve more than anything.
So this being open and approachable allows for not people to come in just as clients, but also just to have conversations with you, perhaps?
Absolutely, yeah.
Sure.
Where could people potentially reach you, or...
I think we're known that they can come to our office, obviously. We also tend to host a lot of activities. We'll do lunches, we'll do gatherings. I think both of us also just go out there and we meet people. I'll go on the bike and I'll go up to Ubud and I'll post on Facebook, that's what I'm doing this day, and people will contact us and they want to have a chat, and that'll happen in their office, or it'll happen in pub or coffee shop or whatever it is. So we reach out to people in a different way. So as long as it's within reasonable distance, then we can. Sometimes they will come to us and we come to them. And that's not something we said, you got to pay us, an hourly rate and so on. And we actually have clients who feels bad because they haven't given us anything yet, and it's 3 or 4 or 5 meetings. But I'm not worried about that, because long term it becomes something, a stronger relationship that will benefit both parties.